That's my impression of if I was strapped up using leather braces and being electrocuted through my rectum. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Get Up Podcast with Josh Dohy. This is episode 41, and I don't know what the fuck is going on with my hands. Like, it just seems like they're like attached to strings, and I just like keep doing weird things with my hands. A lot of weird, funky shit going on in the podcast sphere, bitch. Yeah, everyone's gonna be going crazy this week, talking to you about the political things. They're gonna talk to you about funny things. They're gonna talk to you about so many things that I'm not gonna be speaking to you about because I don't understand. I don't know. All that I do know is that I'm here with you, and we're gonna be talking, buzzing, vibing. We're gonna be buzzing around like little fucking bees, right? Do I have things to talk to you about? Probably, and I'll get to them. But for now, we're just kind of greasing our way in. I am going to lead you through a little exercise. You are 10 years old. You are hanging out with your older brother who does all the coolest stuff and drugs. And he skateboards with his friends. He parties when nobody's home. His friends leave Heinz mustard inside the shower during parties. You come home and there's holes in the wall. You with a note that says sorry over the hole in the wall. And that's the extent of it. Now that we're there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump on a skateboard with him, and we're gonna go behind the house, and we're going to stab ourselves in the. Just kidding. We're going to skateboard with our older brother. That's the kind of memory lane that you and I are going to be traveling on today. Because what's going on new in my life? There is tons of dating, interesting things going on. Not really something that I should talk about on a podcast because it's not really that interesting. But what I can talk to you about is fucking skateboarding, bitch. Like, I know what you're thinking. Josh, you're the parkour guy. Don't you just do flips? Wheels. Wheels. What are you doing with wheels? Well, I'm getting there. Why don't you just let me speak for once? Okay? Are we fighting right now? Or not anymore. So yeah, I've been getting back into skateboarding. Maybe I brought that up in prior podcast episodes, but it's something that I've been kind of actively pursuing these days because skateboarding is kind of like a very classic thing for me. It's very close to my roots. I grew up skateboarding, with my brother in like the suburbs of Calgary. Where there's not much to do except for go out and play pretend, maybe do parkour, like, I don't know, cause havoc with friends. But yeah, that was one of the things I kind of gravitated towards. I was never really into like team sports so much as a kid. And so the solo pursuit of skateboarding really, really rubbed off on me. It was really cool. But I didn't really understand how to get good at things back then. Because I remember like seeing my brother doing tricks, and I would see people who I eventually would hang out with doing tricks and stuff. And I just assumed they were inherently good at skateboarding. I just assumed that like as a person, they were just better at skateboarding than I was. And, I was just going to be shitty for a long time. And I wanted to be good at skateboarding, but I didn't know how to do that for myself. Like these days, it seems kind of wacky to say that, because of course there is a science to improving at things, and there's a way to, pursue something and get better at it every time. I didn't know that was a thing. I just thought that people were inherently good because I was a stupid, dumb kid, and kids just don't know shit. Unless you're a kid right now, then you know everything. I'm just gonna, Santa Claus is real. The tooth fairy is real. Take out all your teeth. Put them beneath your pillow. Find out what happens. Eat things with your gums. Eating things with your gums is actually very painful, especially when you're eating things that are sharp, such as Captain Crunch. It's basically like eating a bowl of razor blades covered in cow pus, because that's what Jovy tells me milk is. Right? A little nod from Jovy in the audience. But yeah, believe whatever you want, unless it's harmful to other people. But yeah, I eventually would go out and skateboard with my friends in like junior high, Like every day after school, we would go behind this 7-Eleven that was like a few blocks away from our school. And there was a really cool little like concrete pad that you could ollie onto. And everyone called it the mani pad because you were just supposed to go there. It probably has something to do with the maxi pad, but yeah, the mani pad would be like you could ollie onto it and then manual across, mani, right? And that was my after school experience in junior high. Like we would just like every day after school with our skateboards just go over to the mani pad, and that was just the dopest shit. But again, like I had friends who were so sick at skateboarding, and I just could not figure out how to get good at skateboarding. I had a few tricks in my up my sleeve. Like I eventually figured out how to ollie, which is something that I'm working on again. But yeah, I learned how to ollie, and then I learned a couple like grab tricks to do, like a boneless where like you put a hand on the board and then you put your other foot on the ground and then you push off the ground and do a little jumpy jump. So I had a couple tricks like that, but I actually caught a lot of flack for, being the boneless guy, because apparently everyone likes bones. But no, everyone, like it's a lot more socially acceptable to do, the common tricks like kickflips and stuff. And like I remember being at the skate park and people would give me shit for just being the boneless person because it wasn't like a cool trick. But also I think they were in some ways trying to push me towards doing harder tricks. Makes sense because the boneless tricks aren't that hard to land. You're not flipping the board or anything. You just the board is in your hands the whole time. And the hard part about that is landing back on it. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is skateboarding was like a deeply rooted part of who I was and am still. But it kind of baffles me that like I've been doing it for so long and never really bothered to get good at it. And then I had this thought occur to me, not particularly like it wasn't like a oh my god, like deja vu, no, like a moment of clarity. But I thought to myself, like, if I got old beyond the point of being able to take risks doing skateboarding and stuff, and I didn't take the time in my life to get good at skateboarding, I'd be kind of pissed. Like if I got to the end of my life and I didn't get kind of good at skateboarding, I would have regrets. And like, I don't know, part of, I think avoiding regret can be a good driving force in some ways. Like I think, of course, like anything, it can kind of move into the unhealthy territory, like snack food. But, snack food also has its place in life. Like it's a good motivator. Like if you go out for a run, if you don't want to go out for a run, you can set some kind of motivating factor for you. Like I'll eat like a delicious candy bar at the end of it. And sure, it's not good to go out for a run and then eat a candy bar, but fuck, it got you running, didn't it? So, why did I say? Because avoiding regret, I guess, can kind of be like that. But yeah, I've just been out skateboarding, and it's been kind of a funky little journey because I had a lot of ideas that I developed around skateboarding. Like, I don't know, whenever you're pursuing a physical discipline or anything that you're trying to improve at, you are developing ideas inside your head of how things work. Like, I had all these ideas of how skateboarding worked in my head that, I started thinking when I was like, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. And that's how I can count by 2. But I had all these ideas around what skateboarding was and how to skateboard and how to do each trick. And I've been realizing that a lot of those ideals and ideas, they aren't beneficial to me. And in fact, they can be kind of limiting. Like I thought that there was one way to do an ollie and I knew how to do that. And then now that I've been kind of experimenting with it, for those who don't know, I'm sure everyone knows what an ollie is, but basically with an ollie, you're riding forward, and then you stomp down, like you do a squat, you stomp down really quickly on the back and then slide your foot forward. And that brings the skateboard up, and then the sliding forward helps elevate the board, and then you land back on it. And I thought that I knew for sure how to do that, and I've just been finding little tweaks and stuff that have made me realize I didn't know as much as I did before, which makes sense, right? Like if I knew everything about skateboarding, if I knew exactly how things worked, wouldn't I be a better athlete? Wouldn't I be a better skateboarder? You would think. But same thing with the kickflip. I feel like I know how to do a kickflip, but I haven't landed one. So I definitely don't know how to do it. So I've just been going through trying to find subconscious biases while I'm doing that. And I think that's pretty important for, like, if you're going to learn anything. Now, if this was the Never Stop Improving podcast, which is like, I watch Never Stop Improving for skateboarding, because it's a guy who's taking like an improvement, a growth mindset and approaching skateboarding with it. I don't know if he does that anymore. I think he's moved into fitness, but he has that channel, the guy who owns that channel, I don't know his name, but he has a series of videos on how to progress in skateboarding. And I think that's really dope, because a lot of people don't know that you, like, to get good at something, you have to approach it with repetitions and progressions and all that. Like, a lot of people approach skateboarding and they don't know how to ollie, they don't know how to do anything, they're not comfortable on a board, and they just go for a kickflip. It's like, no, you need to develop fundamentals. You need to develop a base before you start expanding. So I think that stuff like that is really beneficial for anyone who wants to get better at anything. Is like, find some kind of resource for learning how to improve. And for me, that was parkour, because skateboarding came to me at a weird time where I didn't know how to improve at things. And then I learned parkour, and part of the culture of parkour is improvement and progressions and all that. And maybe that is part of the culture in skateboarding, but I just never got in touch with that. But the other thing with skateboarding is that it's got a very high skill curve. Like, the initial hump for getting good at skateboarding is much higher than a lot of other things. Like, if you're going to play baseball, it's not hard to throw a ball and catch it. If you're going to play soccer, it's not hard to make contact with a ball and push it in a direction. But for skateboarding, the initial difficulty curve to get over is really high. And that's kind of cool. It's got a really high barrier to entry. Like, the only people who skateboard frequently and do it regularly and who aren't just trying to stunt, they've spent a lot of time doing it. Like, the dudes that you see just ripping around and doing all these cool tricks, it's because they practice every fucking day. Because not only are you putting in those reps, but you have to maintain tricks, and you gotta, like, I don't know, it's just really cool the amount of commitment it seems to take. And you have to be flexible in your ideals, and you have to be willing to fail. Like, you have to be willing to take a spill to attempt something, because if you're going to attempt anything new, of course, one of the things that's going to hold you back is a fear of failure. And what is a fear of failure? What is our fear of failure? It's a fear of the unknown. It's a fear of, what if I don't know what to do? What if I don't know how to handle myself if I fall? And the more that you fall, the more that you realize you know how to fall. Like the more that you fall, the more you learn how to fall. And learning to fall is very important, and that's another thing that parkour teaches you through the art of ukemi, based in Denver. It'll teach you, like, if you focus on ukemi in parkour, you're preparing yourself for when those failure moments come, and that'll make you less afraid to try new things. Like, learning how to fail with grace and to learn from your failures is another thing that you can do to fucking improve at stuff. So it's been kind of a cool journey, and I'm just kind of trying to tweak things. And like, one of the things I've noticed while I'm skateboarding is that my body holds a lot of weird, funky tension. Like, I feel so relaxed and easygoing when I'm skateboarding, and then I watch footage of myself in playback. Like, I'll take a video of myself attempting a trick, and my arms are like up here, and I'm like flexing them weirdly. I'm like, what the fuck? Like me at the start of the podcast, my arms are up to things, and I don't know what's going on. And I think the root of that is maybe a fear of falling, and the uncertainty, because I'm not exactly fully at home on a skateboard, because I'm not down to fall. And I know that because when I go for a kickflip, I'm afraid to land back on the board because I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Like, I'm afraid if the skateboard goes primo, which is like on the side of the board, if I land on top, I'm going to fall backwards, and it'll be like an aggressive fall. And I'm afraid of that. But haven't I done a lot of aggressive falling in parkour? Yeah. So I don't know. It's all these little tweaks I'm trying to make while learning this new thing. Maybe it is boring to hear me talking about skateboarding, but like, it's just, that's what's going on in my life right now. And it's really interesting having something new to challenge myself with, which is so dear to me. Like, skateboarding is just a part of who I am. Like, it's just so rebellious by nature. Like, you're like, to get places, you skateboard on the road, and you're weaving between people, and feels risky and fun. And like, I don't know, it puts me in a state of flow when I do it, and I find that really valuable. I think that if you've experienced flow, you will understand how important it is to find flow in the daily life. Like just like finding a way to flow. Like even while I'm doing the podcast, like I'm just trying to be in a flow state where I'm not getting in my own way, where I can just like sit here and, just let the tap run and see what happens. And I get that from skateboarding too. And I want to be able to do cool shit while I skateboard. And I've been trying to be a little bit more flexible with how I view it as well. Like I do this thing where sometimes there'll be a ledge in front of me, and you can't ride on a ledge. You have to ollie up onto it, or lift the front end and then lift the back end to get on top. And I'm trying to do this thing where I lift my front end, stop on it, and then I'm trying to I do like a little spin step back onto the skateboard and then ride off again. And I'm just trying to do like little stuff like that. Like I see a lot of parkour athletes when they get into skateboarding, they do a lot of cool creative shit. Like I think it was Josh Malone, and then I've also seen, I think, Egg. I've seen both of them approach skateboarding and just do some wacky, cool shit where like they understand how their body works, and they just do a bunch of cool environment interaction. Even though like maybe they're not the most skillful skateboarders, they can still do creative stuff because they've got all this experience from parkour and other things that they've done. So it's kind of cool to see the cross application that you get from approaching any discipline. That's one thing I've noticed coming from parkour, and also through literature that I've read, is that by deep diving into any one discipline, you will discern principles and important core values of the discipline that you're going into. So, for example, parkour teaches you that to improve at anything, or parkour taught me that to improve at anything, you must take a progression approach. And you can take discipline, or you can take, I'm getting all these words messed up, but you can take principles like that and apply them to other stuff. It's really cool. Like by exploring any one art or discipline or sport, you get all these little keys that help you unlock deeper levels of the sport. And it's kind of cool to find that those keys can apply to different places. And better yet, you can take keys from other disciplines and apply them to your main discipline, like the main thing that you're into. And if you want to learn more about that, there's this book called Principles by Ray Dalio, and it's a really cool look into that. But yeah, the baseline theory is just that by improving at anything, you get keys, and those keys will unlock other doors for you. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with things, and I'm trying currently my approach to skateboarding is I want to just drill ollies and then also attempt kickflips. And I'm also attempting grinds, but I really don't understand how they work yet. But right now I think I just need to drill ollies, because like I thought I knew how to do them. I can do low ollies and stuff, but I think I want to have like a really good, confident, beautiful ollie. And I think that'll help me unlock other stuff. Because that's how progressions work. You get good at one skill, and you practice it to perfection or proficiency, and that'll help you ease into other things. Like, of course, you need to learn how to ollie to do a kickflip, and of course, you need to know how to kickflip to do any of the other. You need an ollie. This is what I think currently. I think you need a really good ollie, you need a really good kickflip, and you need a really good pop shove it to learn all the other tricks. Because a kickflip will teach you how to flip a board, and then a pop shove it will teach you how to rotate the board, and then most other tricks seem to be some kind of combination of flipping and rotating the board. Like there's like the 360 flip and all the other flips, and maybe the heel flip too. That'll also teach you different stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to learn right now. And I've also been thinking a lot about different memories I have with skateboarding. Like I remember one time back when I was living in Calgary, I was very young, and I was with a group of my friends who I would skateboard with a lot. And there are these things in downtown Calgary called plus 15s, and how they work is like Calgary is too cold to go outside sometimes. So to easily go from one high-rise building to the next in downtown Calgary, you can move through these plus 15s. What a plus 15 is it's an elevated walkway, and it is protected. Like you don't, it's inside. And it's 15 feet up, I think. Yeah, not 15 meters, because that'd be really high. But yeah, one day on a Sunday when everything was closed downtown, my friends and we found a way into the plus 15s, and we just went and skateboarded like through the plus 15s, and that was so fucking fun because like the plus 50, you can just do like a circuitous route through everything like forever. Like you can just, I don't know, like not all, but many buildings are connected to these plus 15s, and you can just kind of explore them. And on Sundays, there's no people around. Like maybe you'll encounter a security guard and then you'll have to run away from them. But it was kind of cool to just explore that. And like, it was kind of hectic. It was cool because we felt like we had discovered this like secret, undercover, restricted area. And we just got to do whatever we wanted. It was like we found like a secret hideout. And then eventually, a security guard did find us. We had to run away from them, and then they called every cop in the city on us. And there was like 8 cop cars that were like trying to find us. It was fucking crazy. Like when they have something better to do, in Calgary, isn't there crime to solve? But yeah, I remember we escaped and we were outside and we were all just hanging out and ollieing downstairs and stuff. And we looked over and there was like fucking like 8 cop cars that were like outside of this one building, and we knew they were looking for us. It was so sketch, dude. Just funny little experiences like COVID. Funny little experiences like that. That made skateboarding dear to me. Like my one brother Ben, who I don't exactly interact with a whole lot. One of the forms of connection that I was able to have with him was through skateboarding. Like I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with him because we had different interests, and he was older and into wild shit. But skateboarding was a way for us to hang out together and just have some brother on brother time, that was really nice. Yeah, so I think that's really all I had to say about skateboarding. Maybe we'll just like talk about other stuff right now. Drama in the house. Drama. I have been thinking about moving into the downtown West End because I feel like that is where my life is kind of taking me. Because, there is like the person I'm seeing is in the West End, and you would think that that's why I'm going. But it's also like that is where the actors go. Like whenever we go for brunch or we go to like a cafe, like that, like we see a bunch of, working actors and stuff. So that got me thinking like, shit, why do I live so far away from this? Like, why am I not immersing myself in this like very social, very welcoming atmosphere for actors? Like it is very social. Like you just like see people all the time down there. And you'll see like not famous, but like, well-known actors from around town just like at this cafe or just like walking their dog around the street. Like it just got me thinking like, why do I live half an hour away from all of this? And part of it is because it's more expensive to live down there. But I guess I moved to Kitsilano, the area that I'm in. I moved there because I wanted to be close to a beach. And I wanted to be close to UBC because I think there's some really nice parkour spots there. And also Wreck Beach is right by there, which is our local nude beach, which is like, it's so fun just on any day in the summer to just go there and strip down naked and just like hang out there or like fucking take mushrooms or, just hang out with your friends and be naked. It's fucking fun. Or go on a date. I had this one date where I went to Wreck Beach with this girl. It was maybe our second or third date. And we were making out a lot, as you do on dates, if things are going well. And we were, of course, naked because it's the nude beach, and I don't know, not being naked is kind of weird there. So we were making out and stuff, and then this lady who I was making out with went off to the bathroom, and I was feeling so jazzed up, I wanted to do a headstand, and we're about to get really explicit, so kids, if you're watching, don't. But when you're making out with a lady, you're gonna get fucking excited, like get a boner if you're a dude. If you're a lady, the nips get hard. I don't know how it works for you. Maybe you get a boner too. But she left and I did a headstand because I was stoked. And then as I was doing this headstand, I was wearing a hat so that the sand wouldn't get on me. And I noticed something was dripping on my hat. And I was like, what the, is that water? And then I noticed that I was fucking dripping human excitement onto my hat as I was doing this headstand. She comes back and then I was like, I take off the hat and I present it to her. I was like, I basically just came on my hat. And she was like, whoa, dope. And we just laughed about it. I thought that was like a funny little dating moment. And I have many memories like that going to Wreck Beach. I've also had weird experiences there. Like, one time I went there with a couple friends of mine, and one of them decided to just like take way too much acid, and he just had a really bad time at the beach. And like, we wanted to just, have like a nice like psychedelic time hanging out on the beach. And then this guy who decided to take like 3 or 4 times more than everybody else secretly, he was just like sitting there. He was like in like a fetal position basically. And he was just like having such a bad time. And it was really upsetting the energy because like, when you're on psychedelics, of course, you're going to be more like in tune with the energy of other people. And like, I was just like paying attention to him a lot, and I was like, damn, he's in like a really bad place. And like, I couldn't get myself to like fully let go just because I felt so bad for this friend of mine. He eventually got through it. He didn't have like an outward existential crisis, but maybe inward he did. But like, yeah, that beach is just kind of the place for you to be a hippie. It's kind of nice that the city has a place like that. Like, there's not like a whole lot of legal business going on, but like there will be just like, it's like someone will be walking around the beach and they'll be selling like weed, or they'll be selling like drinks, or other stuff. And like, it's just, and there's vendors that you can, pay cash for like hot dogs or whatever. It's just like a cool little psychedelic place. And that was one of the things that really brought me to live in this area. But now I've been thinking, now that I'm trying to get a little bit more serious about my acting career, it will probably be beneficial for me to be where the action is. And I do see a whole lot of benefit to me being separate from it and being far away and, being able to, just separate myself. But you can do that in the West End. Like, you're not in the heart of downtown. The West End's like a nice, like verdant, green, nice area, with apartments all along it and stuff. And I've just been seeing friends of mine move there. And I'm like, shit, that might be the move for me. 'Cause then I won't have to I won't have to bike away from downtown every day. I can just like do my stuff downtown and then continue living downtown. Like, if I hit an open mic, I won't have to stay with a friend that night. I can just go home. And I figured that would be pretty nice. But that does kind of come with an inherent lifestyle change, because I will have to pay more for rent. And then it would potentially make making Jovy and I live together difficult, because he's got different standards for like what he can pay, what he wants to pay for rent and stuff. So yeah, there's just kind of an ongoing conversation around the house now, and it's kind of caused a bit of a buzz, and things are a bit shocking as well, because I know this is something that I want to do. I know it's something that's good for me, but I'm also afraid of leaving this lifestyle behind, because like living with Jovy and living with Davis and stuff, it's been a really dope experience, and it's been like a very energetic and creative atmosphere. And I'm really afraid of leaving that behind. And part of me just feels like, why don't you just keep doing this? But I do think like I do need to change my location. So it's a tough position to be in, because I know I'm probably going to have to work more to afford living downtown and stuff. And that'll give me less free time to work on passion projects like this. But that just means I'll have to be more effective with my free time. And if I'm serious about pursuing these things that I'm doing, then that's one of the moves I got to make. So that's what's going on in my life this week, guys. Thank you for watching. I got to cut this short because, of course, I'm late for something. It's 2:14. I was supposed to be training with my friends at 2:30 or at 2 o'clock. So, of course, I'm late. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out Wes, shout out James, shout out Gavin and Greg. Thank you guys for tuning in every time. I really appreciate you guys. And if you're listening, drop a comment in the comment section below, and I'll give you guys a shout out next time. So yeah, thanks for joining me on episode 41. Suck your own penis. All right, motherfuckers, you thought that it was all done? You got fooled, okay? I was fooled as well. And then what happened was I lived an entire day. The house is now empty. I can say anything I want, and we're just going to hear it now, okay? So I thought the podcast was over too, all right? So I recorded the podcast, went out, had a great fucking training session. It was dope. There was some concrete ledges. We jumped. End of story. Just kidding. So there was a dope spot. It was kind of a warm-up spot, but we ended up training there the whole time and actually finding some dope shit to do there. That was a sick session. Olivier was there. Renee was there. Renee's the owner of Origins. He's awesome. And Liam Hodge was also there. Yeah, so we just like met up, fucking seshed, and we had a really good time. Like there was just positive vibes going all around. Like everybody was just nonstop positive energy. That's what I fucking love about training with parkour athletes, dude. When you get out and you just hang with them, dude, it's just positive energy all the time. It feels so awesome. Everyone's just gassing each other up, telling jokes, hanging out. Dude, 2020 has me missing hangouts. With just a bunch of people there shooting the shit, bro. And just the weather's got me stuck inside and just, it's like all the negative energy coming out of me. So I feel like my negative energy looks like. My negative energy just looks like, and I just need to let it out sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta let out the energy. Boy, a lot of energy going on here. So before I wrapped up the podcast, or so I thought, I was talking about how things are starting to feel tense around the house because I brought up a new prospect of my life that I'm really excited to go forward with, and it's that I want to live in the West End and I want to be where the actors be, because where I live is a secluded rich person neighborhood. I'm living in half of a very rich family's basement. That's my living situation. Why don't I just go downtown, live in my own space with sun? I live in a basement. I need sun, and I need to be close to friends. Because sure, it is nice having a house that's very far away from everything, and like I can just feel separated from it all. I can feel like I have my in the city life, and I can feel like I have my out of the city life. I kind of want to merge the two, because there's a lot more benefits to living downtown, because I can go hit an open mic, tell a few jokes, and then I don't have to go stay at Jess's house, and I don't have to have a long walk or bike or anything or run home or butt scoot if I'm really tired. But anyway, I don't have to have a long time to get fucking home because I'll be downtown. It's my home base. That's what I'm hoping for. And I'm really hoping that Jovy comes with me. But if he can't make it, then that's just the way that life goes, I think. Like, fuck, I really enjoy living with Jovy. It's the best. It's the best shit. Like, we just constantly gas each other up. We're always doing art. The whole thing around the house is if you're not grinding on your dreams, like, what are you doing? Like, if someone's playing video games for a long period of time, sometimes we'll just be like, yo, hey, don't you have dreams you're working on? Like, we just look after each other like that, dude. That's such a good atmosphere to have around the house for pushing us to do shit. It's the best energy to be around. And there's incredibly high highs, but there's also incredibly low lows. And just, anybody can go through incredibly low lows. But the thing is, in this living situation, Jovy doesn't have a bedroom. He lives in the living room. He's in the living room. He lives in the living room on the couch. There's no rooms. There's no rooms for people to retreat to. There's no common ground that's just like an empty space that people can congregate to, socialize, and then go back to their zones if they need to. It's just like we are together and we are on all the time. And like, it would be nice for us to have our own rooms. If Jovy can come with me, that would be so dope. I would love still having that energy in my life, especially because the next place he moves into with me, if we do it together, he wants to have a bedroom of his own. I think that's great. That's dope as shit. But if the place that I'm looking at is too expensive and he's not feeling like he wants to pay that much, then it might be nice for me to just have my own space for a little bit. Because, like, look at how honest I can be with the camera. Usually Jovy's behind the camera or something, or someone's home and I'm afraid of someone hearing something or whatever. It's kind of nice to just be like 100% honest and just like, and I know like what I'm saying isn't hurtful. And yes, it sucks. You can't be like 100% honest, or like you can't speak as plainly as I am now. But like, I like to speak plainly. It's a trait of me being from the prairies, I guess. But like, yeah, people are, I guess, no, what I'm used to is just being a little bit more straight up, but blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Caught up in the vernacular. He lost a train of thought. But I think it's really cool that I continued to do this today, because the amount of podcasts that I had just recorded, just in the before time, I wasn't that satisfied with. I was like, yeah, I talked about skateboarding for a while, but I didn't like loosen up. I didn't like say what's on my mind, I didn't just like give it all up. I didn't fill up the cup of information for the viewer. I just put like a shot of vodka inside of a party cup and said, drink this. You're like, I need a little bit more Chase. So here I am. My name's Chase. What's up, guys? Hello, my name's Chase. Here I am, gonna help you wash down that vodka because you're drinking. I don't know what you mix with vodka to make it go down nicer. Maybe ginger beer, a Moscow Mule, if you will. You know, maybe you made the vodka wash down nicer by opening up the throat wider. I don't do that. When I drink alcohol, it makes me go, ah! But this girl that I talked to in high school one time, she was like, yo, one time I just drank vodka, and instead of doing the cringe, I just opened my throat more. I was like, what the fuck? What happened then? And she was like, I drank more. I was like, shit, this lady is on the next level. That's a level of alcohol intake I do not want to reach. And I have tried doing that after that point, you know. I have tried to reach a comfort with alcohol where I can just flow. It just doesn't sit with me. The thing is, I'm going to feel like shit tomorrow. Why? Because I had 3 beers today. Didn't drive, took the bus. Don't worry if you're worrying, okay? But I finished up training, and then I went to like a burger place to go grab a little snacky, and had a drink, and then I texted my friend who is going to be a director in this upcoming Vancouver Film Festival, Crazy Eights. His pitch for a film made it to the top 6, which means that he can make a film with his own crew. They pair him with producers and people who help him improve his ideas and stuff. He's basically getting groomed from this festival because he was able to get to the top 6. And I wanted to like text him up and call him and just be like, hey, if you want to go get a burger at this place that we've had burgers at before, come through. I'd really like to talk to you about this thing. So we talked about it for a long time. It was really cool just to hear like the little interesting moments he gets to go through as a director who's working with very talented people and being paired with people who want to basically mentor him. That's basically what Crazy Eights kind of seems to be, is like, from what he's telling me, it seems to be like, I don't know, they've picked you and they want you to improve. I don't know. I really kind of lost my train of thought there. But anyway, while I was with him, I drank 3 beers. And here I am, 3 beer Josh. I think it's a nice level to be at. Also smoke some weed later on, which I'm trying to do less of. But the way life goes, sometimes you're in, sometimes you're out, right? Am I fucking right, fucks? You know, I'm gonna be talking like this right from now on. Here we go. You're gonna see the side of my face. I'm gonna tell you about everything that went on later on. Okay, so I had 3 beers, came home, and now I know, probably tomorrow, the beer's not gonna sit with me, right? I don't know where I was going with any of that, but I guess I was just saying that alcohol doesn't always sit nicely with me, and tomorrow I'm not looking forward to feeling poorly. But, oh yes, I am 3 beer Josh, had a conversation with my friend, and now I come home, house is empty, and I just felt like recording more podcasts, which is not necessarily the most productive thing, because I'm kind of creating more work for myself, but also I'm creating more work for myself, which is kind of cool. But what I mean to say is that I have a script that I need to sit down and look at and work on and become a better actor by looking at for a long time. But instead I chose to do this, and I'm still going to do that tonight. But it is kind of nice that I chose to do more of this. It's kind of nice that I'm holding myself to a standard with the podcast. Because, sure, I could have just let that podcast sit, and it could have been another week of me just saying things and being vague about things and trying to teach, but also trying to not. But here I am, empty house. I don't feel like anyone's judging me, or I'm not trying to make anyone laugh, you know, unless I say something funny like booger, or like I fart a lot, or like, I don't know, something a lady would find funny, like a man getting his penis stepped on. So, whoa, a little close to home there, hey? But that's okay. It's okay. But I'm glad I'm holding myself to a standard, and my voice is getting so dry. I don't know what it sounds like for you guys, but like, because I am without water, I am like, I feel like I'm in the middle of a desert. Like, I feel like I am on a road trip to San Diego Comic-Con in 2009 with my father, dad, and brother. My father, dad, and brother. I see where I went wrong there. So with my grandfather, my dad, and my brother, we all went down to California, stayed in some dope-ass hotels, and then just went to San Diego Comic-Con. Just got to like walk around there and just see what the fuck's up. And that was dope. That was really cool because being at a con when you're like, I don't know, I was probably like 16. I was probably like 15, 14. Yeah, I was probably 14 around that time. Just a large convention center in the middle of like a foreign city. And you just get passes and your dad's like, yeah, go and do that. That seems fun. And we just walked around this giant fucking, the biggest comic convention like in the world that I know of. We just would just walk around, get a snack. Like we had money, I guess, if we had saved up from jobs or something or allowance or something like that. But I don't fucking remember how we paid for things. But that's weird. How do we have money to pay for things back then? But there really wasn't much you needed to pay for once you're in. Like if you wanted to eat something, you could. There would be dinner at the end of the day with dad. But like if you had saved up money, then you could go, eat a hot dog or something. And also because you had the pass, if you stood in line for long enough for things, you could just get in and like hear the voice actor of this TV series talk for a little bit, or you could hear the creator of Batman talk to another guy who claims to have created Batman or was part of the creation of Batman. Like it was just like a bunch of old dudes just talking to each other about comics that they made and like are the most famous comics. It was cool, man. And I guess my mouth being dry reminded me of that because at one point we drove from Phoenix to through Nevada, I think, to California, if my geography is correct. If it's not, fucking sue me. But yeah, we rented a car and we drove from Phoenix to Las Vegas to San Diego in a Mustang. And it was really cool to get the Mustang because I thought they were cool. And then we sat on the inside and the seats were so uncomfy. Now, the lady that I'm seeing, she's really cool. She has a Mustang and the seats in it are comfy. You can sit in them. But this model of Mustang that I rented with my family, the seats were like it felt like I was sitting in a stool. Like one of those stools with like backs. I was like, what the fuck? Someone just sits in a stool all the time in these? And my dad was like, yeah, Josh, you just spent the last hour bugging me to get this. Enjoy. And the whole ride there, I was like, fuck, I just want to sit in the front because the front is so much comfier than the back seat. Do you not agree? Drop a like, comment, or describe if you agree. I need to get some water real quick. Holy fuck, I need water. Jesus fuck. Water time? Is it water time? Anyway, all this is leading up to the script I'm supposed to work on. And I'm really stoked to do it. And this role is going to be super fun because I've worked with this director before. I'm very comfy working with him. I can be goofy and I can just do whatever around him because we've hung out before. So I'm going to be acting on a film that he's directing. And part of it is, my character is very energetic, very ambitious, very cocky, and very overtly racist. Now that's weird to do in the modern climate. You can can you understand my fear? Like just of portraying a racist and somehow being misconstrued as actually being racist. Ugh, I'm a little scared. But this role will be good because I'm excited to work on a very official acting project. And as part of this professionalism, I didn't have to audition for it because the character was written for me. Not sure whether to take that as a compliment or an insult, like a compliment that he thought of me and wrote a role for me, but also when he thought of me as racist. Like he wrote me into a character, but was it the energy or the racism part that made him write it for me? No, I'm just kidding. But I'm sure he likes me. I think I haven't done anything to piss him off. I don't think he's awesome. I like hanging out with him. But as part of this audition, I had to yell some very racist shit in my basement apartment. That was a little weird because I live in the basement of like very wealthy Chinese people and I don't feel racist, but here I am shouting racist shit at the top of my lungs for a fucking tape I'm sending to my friend who is also Asian. Like, so I guess I can do that for him, but like, just I didn't warn them upstairs or anything. It was just like I just started yelling the racist things as the script asked me to. And something weird and risky I tried was trying to make it funny or just overtly pushing or, a classical definition of funny. That was a weird envelope to work in because as an actor, you're supposed to take things, kind of make them your own and suit the story. And sometimes when I make things my own, I try and make things funny or put my energy into the character. And that can be for better or for worse. And we'll see with this character. I've done other characters where like I'm supposed to be maybe more chill or like more casual or more just average seeming. Like I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, no, it's cool. Yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Cool. Yeah, I'll see you at the football game later, all right? Peace, man. Like I'm just supposed to be chill like that, but instead I'm just like, oh, what's up? I'm like, yo, what's going on? Get you at the football game later. Boy. So it was interesting that I tried to be funny using racist dialogue in the audition for this film. Not audition, the taping that I sent to the director for this film to show him how the character lived. Like basically show him what it looks like when I speak the words off of this script. Was his choice in casting correct? And he wants to show other team members like what the scene's going to look like. So that's weird doing stuff like that because I don't want to be thought of as that, but that just seems to be the role, like some of the roles I get sent out for these days, just with I guess the modern social climate of where movie making is, where popular movie making is. Like I got through my acting school being told that I would play superhero roles and like the young lead character and like, things like that. And I come out of school and I'm asked to play like a lot of like kind of psychopathic type of dudes or like racist dudes. Like I've gotten auditions for other like more average things. But one thing I wasn't expecting was how often I would be asked to play like racists or like just evil dudes. So that's been an interesting process because I came up in school playing the hero character. And here I am and I have to get used to playing the antagonist character. I have to figure out how to get in touch with the emotional core of this character where I don't believe the things he's saying. In fact, I think that this character is saying some very bad shit, but I have to make it make sense to me. And to do that, like to make yourself say something you don't believe, you have to believe in it. And you have to invest in it. I don't know where I was going with that sentence, but basically you have to put stock into just potentially believing what the character believes within the pages, and buying into that. And so it's been weird having to dive into that. And, part of acting is bringing yourself to the character. And so sometimes when I'm bringing things to characters, especially when they're racist or antagonistic, when I bring aspects of myself to that, sometimes I wonder if I'm a bad person or if these things are coming from me. Now, the answer is that I am using my experiences to apply to a script to try and empathize with the script so I'm able to play the character better. But it's also just weird applying yourself to that and allowing yourself, even if momentarily, to believe these things that the character believes. To say words like you meant them, basically. It's strange. It's a weird feeling. And I'm fine just acting and being a character in a story. I would prefer to be funny and I would prefer to be, on the good side if I can. But yeah, to play these characters, it's interesting. It's an exploration, and it's weird exploring a type of thinking I never would have explored before, because I feel like not necessarily through that path of exploration, but just by allowing myself to explore different styles of thinking, I feel like I'm able to understand the world better. Maybe you can go out throughout the world, by doing this, you can go out into the world, and when someone acts like that, you can understand where they're coming from. You don't have to empathize with them. You don't have to feel the same thing they feel. But it's interesting just knowing why people do the things they do. It's putting thought into what it's like to be someone else. That's interesting. And it's also a little tidbit for the non-actors. It's very spiritual, leaving behind who you are just for a second. To just allow yourself to be something completely different. To just stopping being yourself just for 1 second. For one day, you're not Bob that works at the fucking, the fucking clinic. I don't know. Whatever you do as your side hustle. You're no longer Josh, who is the parkour athlete. You're someone else. It's weird. That's a psychedelic experience. It helps me understand why some actors don't do drugs, but it also helps me understand why some actors do drugs. It's kind of weird because of the dissociative, spiritual, immersive experience that acting is. Makes sense you wouldn't need drugs, especially if you're acting that often and having to be immersed in that. Like, there are mentors who are very dear to me who, to my knowledge, do not smoke or drink. And I'm like, whoa. Like, how do you get your kicks? But actually they are satisfied enough acting. That's sick. Because I think that's really dope. Because they are able to be put in a situation where they can act for many parts of the day, for a large part of the year. And that makes me excited to be in a future like that, where I can just experience the flow of being fully immersed in a scene with all the challenges around you. The camera's rolling, and the sound guy is chewing peanuts, and you can hear it a little bit. And there's gaffers walking in the background doing whatever they're doing. You have to focus in that one moment, put all of your script knowledge to the test, deliver the lines, and be in the scene while it feels like everybody's watching. That feeling of flow is really valuable to me. And that is one of the reasons why I choose to pursue acting. Because when I got my first acting agent, I scored a role for a student film through her. And it was, of course, it was a student film. It was not an actual movie. But it had a big crew and a lot of eyes on me. And I liked the pressure of that situation, having to just have your lines ready, be there on time, and then relax, and then be inside the scene and forget everybody else around you and just allow yourself to believe you're in this situation. That was a really powerful feeling, a feeling of complete immersion. And that was what really drew me to acting. And that's why I chose to come to my acting school that I went to in Vancouver. That's why I moved to Vancouver. That's why I'm still here, because I want to create a life for myself where I am doing things that will put me in that same state of flow. Because it is peak focus, where you are applying yourself 100%, where you are being challenged on all fronts. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you fucked up learning the script. Maybe they handed you a new script and you had to learn some stuff. Any roadblock that comes, you still have to perform at 100%. You still have to give them your 1000%. That's really cool. I'm really excited about that. So I'll leave you guys with that instead of the last part of this podcast where I didn't feel like fully opening up to the camera. And some weeks I'm like that. Some weeks I don't want to fully open up to the camera. I don't want to be 100% honest. I want to hide what's going on in my life. But that's not what the podcast is. The podcast is for me to hide nothing, I guess, and for me to talk and for me to feel open and available. So that, and sometimes the podcast isn't that. Sometimes I can't manage it. But it's very rewarding when I can. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you genuinely thank you to all my listeners. I am very grateful for you. Anybody who listens to this podcast regularly, like, this is something I really enjoy doing. And you watching is a direct form of support. And I do pay attention to who watches, and I'm always watching the numbers and the comments and stuff and who's really paying attention. It's cool. It's cool to know that someone's along the ride with me. Or maybe they're not. I don't know. It also just feels good talking to a camera, you know? At the end of the day, it is just me and a camera and a monitor of myself. But I also feel like I'm talking to someone. Sometimes I'm talking to you. Sometimes I'm talking to the world. Sometimes I'm talking to myself. It's kind of nice to just jump in front of a mic and do that. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I genuinely appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and grab life by both butt cheeks consensually.